First, I have to say, Christian, thank you for showing up in a dry shirt today. Appreciate
Yeah, it's nice.
it. This is such a great movie for all of you. Each of you played an incredible part in bringing history to life. What was it? Let's start with Miguel. What was it about this movie that really made you guys want to be a part of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I worked with Julio in the past and I love working with him. So when he sent me the script and we started talking about it, it was just so fascinating to learn about this true story about 1956, And then after getting to read the script and then getting my hands on the book Mustang Miracle by Humberto Garcia, I mean, I just fell more in love with it. And I just felt like it was something that I had to be a part of and show the world, basically.
Gregory?
Definitely a similar experience for me. I received the script, I read it, but I was just so fascinated by the fact that not only did I view golf as kind of this more elitist sport that really wasn't accessible to most, but after hearing this story about, five Mexican American boys in the 50s playing it, it was just, I felt like the themes were so universal and they still connect to what's going on now. And I just found that really fascinating. And I thought it would be really great to be able to help tell that story as much as I could.
Christian?
For me, when I got the breakdown, I didn't get the script till later, so I started doing my own research, and there was very little research out there. But the few things that I did find, I was just in awe with them being so young and going through so much and just being good at like shutting off the racism, putting them to the side, almost making them seem as they don't belong, and at such a young age, with their friends, still managed to win state championship. And for me, and also the film being part of 1950s, which I am obsessed with, I was like, oh my God, I hope I get this. I remember I was telling myself, I was like, I don't even care if I'm an extra in this. I want to be on this set. I want to wear the stuff. So yeah, I just loved it all.
Well, as a lefty, was it more difficult, or was there some tip that you learned that was really surprising for you when you first started? Because it's interesting in the movie when Dennis Quaid's character is teaching you guys how to be lefties or what it means, or different tips for your specific skills. Don't lift your foot, even though you say it's like more comfortable for you to do it that way. As a lefty, it must be a little bit more difficult, though, to shoot those shots.
Um, yeah, is that a Christian question or just a
Yeah, Christian's a lefty.
Oh no, I think wasn't it you, Greg, who was a lefty?
I mean, in real life, I'm a righty, but in the film and in the book, and
Yes, you're a lefty.
and in real life, Gene Vasquez is a lefty. He swung lefty, but at the time, it was, I don't want to say frowned upon, but it wasn't normal. You stood out too much. So he had to learn eventually how to swing righty, because you can't really swing lefty with righty clubs. It doesn't really work that well.
It must have meant so much for all of you to be starring in a movie with so many Latin icons, as well as the focus of the film being about POC and the strength that you guys had to overcome. Jose, maybe you can talk about what it meant to you to be starring in a film with Dennis Quaid, Jay Hernandez, Cheech Marin.
Well, Cheech came on later into the production, and obviously, whenever you hear a name of that weight, you're completely starstruck and you can't believe it. And I'm fortunate enough to see this point of my personal career as like just another validation of me having what it takes to do this job. Like when you see names like Jay Hernandez and Dennis Quaid attached to yours, yeah, it's tremendous validation.
One of my favorite scenes is the diner because it's so poignant and it's so full circle for all of you. You've come so far in the film and you guys think that you're sort of on par at this moment with people who are, the whites in the community and stuff like that. And you guys have come so far since the people you were when you started out in this. But then there's this setback Miguel, talk about filming that particular scene.
Yeah, I really enjoy that scene as well. So I'm glad you brought it up because it really shows the different sides of the boys and how people kind of take out on that anger, and it teaches you a lesson that Jay Hernandez's character, our coach, taught us. But filming that scene was very important because it's just a typical teenage moment of rage and frustration. And excitement. But, looking back on it, these kids are able to reflect and they're able to be witness of their bad decisions or decisions that might not help them progress and the impact that they have on their community, just as young Latino kids, the impact that they could have on other Latinos with their small actions. So just them understanding that and having that plot point, I think was really, really important to the general story and what we were trying to say with this movie.
And Greg kind of saves the day because his scores end up replacing, and he's the clutch for you guys. Greg, did you spend much time with Gene exploring the character and how what it meant to him to finally be in that moment where you were originally left behind? They didn't even want you to be their friend, it seemed like, in their friend group, let alone play on the team with them. And here you are stepping in, stealing the clutch.
Yeah. No, Gene is the youngest. He is definitely the most inexperienced player on the team. But like you said, he finally does get his shot to show what he has, and he gets to show that he is a valuable member of the team. But fortunately enough, being able to speak to the actual Gene Vasquez, and his first thought was, I'm 6 feet tall, and he's maybe 5'5" in reality. So his first thought was like, wow, you're a lot taller than I am. I like that. They made me tall. But just, being able to talk to him and talk about, him being able to confirm things that I thought and him being able to tell me more than what I knew was, it was really great. And just also, he was very open and honest. He knew he had to prove himself. And fortunately, he was able to do that. It may not have been exactly what happens in the film, but he did have a similar experience while they were playing that, the rest of the guys finally kind of accepted him into the group. They kind of accepted that he was a part of the team.
I kind of pushed Miguel to tell me his memorable moment from working on that scene in the diner, but I'd love to know, Christian, what was it like for all of you guys filming in the rain? It must have been hard times for all of you.
We were so high up in the mountains, and I always expected Colombia to be warm. I don't know why. It just looked warm in movies. And when we got there, it was freezing, and then we had the rain coming down, and we were switching clothes, wardrobe, while being wet, and you feel the wind, the cold wind. And we're supposed to pretend we're having so much fun, and it's warm. It's Texas. I think that was difficult for me. I think that was one of the most difficult. Yeah, but it was fun.
That was a very difficult day to shoot. Yeah, no, I mean, Christian got it right. Where, I didn't know how high of an altitude Bogota had. I mean, we're talking about like 11,000 feet above sea level or something like that. And most people seem to underestimate how cold it gets there, because you think Latin American countries, South America, it's going to be nice and warm and humid, but no, it was cold. And that particular day, they had the rain apparatuses set up, and the water felt like it was minus 10 degrees. I mean, it felt freezing. And we go in there, and we just couldn't, like, that one little bit of a taste of what that felt like. We just couldn't. We're like, okay, this is a little harder than we thought. But the camera operator and a lot of the camera people kind of stooped to our level, and one of the guys was doing it barefoot. So the camera guy had to be under the same rain, and to kind of show us up, he was doing it barefoot and with less, I mean, we already had our costume, but he was at the very least, we had a break from the rain. As soon as they yelled cut, these camera guys were in the rain the entire shoot, so it was a good perspective. because you feel cold, and then you see these guys and you're like, wow, okay, at least I don't have it as hard as they do.
Well, another poignant moment in the movie is when you guys do win and you're standing there and they just kind of hand you the trophy and then they walk off. Julie, if you
So
could
in the book, apparently what had happened was a rain started that day, and they had used they used that as an excuse to not have the ceremony. So in the film, that's been adjusted to kind of highlight the treatment that they received by presenting perfect weather in the scene. In the scene they had perfect weather, but in the book they had a torrential downpour that day, and they used it as an excuse to not hold this award ceremony.
What did the director then advise you guys to sort of be feeling or to sort of emote through your face while you're driving through the town?
That was a really special scene to film, because it kind of like joined everybody together, all of the cast, whether that be, Dennis Quaid, Jay Hernandez, Cheech Marine, and all these other characters, but also like just seeing all of the extras and really having that environment and energy really put into perspective that, what matters when you win is your community, and not necessarily the appreciation or recognition from people that have not been with you guys since the beginning and know what you guys go through. So all of that, added on to what we felt in those scenes, and just actually having those people there in the period cars, and that added to just that whole ending, which I think is so vulnerable and beautiful, really.
Christian, what do you hope viewers take away, or what do you hope lingers with them when they watch The Long Game?
Well, I hope they fall in love with the story about the Mustangs from Del Rio, because they went through so much and did so much, and it's unfortunate that their story is just getting told. I don't know. I think I want to let somebody else answer this. I'm not too good with the words, Miguel. I think you can do it better than me.
No, I mean, Christian said it well, but I think the story of the Mustangs is so incredible. And that's something that Christian just said, that we should know about these stories, because they paved the foundation for so many other people of color to achieve and do other things. And how surprised were we when we found out about this story that happened almost 70 years ago. And these small steps that these humans have made have really just made waves for others. So that is my goal, at least, that people see this story and believe that, they can achieve their dreams, and that they can pursue whatever they want, whether that be what Gregory said, that sport of golf, which can be elitist and can be very high class society.